replay bar, the replay bar. Now I have to say, although Legend, you know, hopefully none of you guys were looking at that replay bar in the moment. Even though he messed that up, I have to say that song that he was just playing was so awesome. I had to go get that from him. That is my kind of music. Alright, of course, down here at the bottom right, we've got Hope Torture. At the top, it's our Zerg player, DongRaeGu. And the map, of course, is Antigua Shipyards, the map that Rainbow has chosen. And this is an interesting map for Rainbow to choose. A lot of people argue about which race this map really favors. Some people say that it favors Terran because if you hold the center, it's really hard for Zerg to do anything. Some people say it's really good for Zerg because Muleless Harass is really good on this map. Terran has a lot of bases they can take on the high ground, but Zerg has a ton of bases to expand to. It's a large map. You can hide bases quite easily and defend against drops with good Muleless control. It's a good map for Mutas overall. I tend to lean towards this is a good map for Terran. I like Hope Torture's choice here. We'll see what his plan is, see if he's got any proxy plans, but no, it's going to be a gas first. Coming out here for Hope Torture. So he's got some sort of tech build planned, and look at this, after last game, DongRaeGu is not going to fall for any tricks. Checking everywhere for that barracks. And the refinery done the first barracks at the wall, so he's not proxying the barracks, not doing any sort of crazy Reaper first builds or anything like that. Just probably going to be that Hellion Marine medevac drop that is so popular. It was really popular by the Slayers team for quite some time. Remember, this is essentially a two-player map, considering that GOM has changed it so that it's forced cross positions. And for that reason, he's going to come in here and sees, oh, your barracks is a little bit late. Okay, gas first, I see. Now, when you see a gas first build as Zerg, you want to make extra queens. Why, might you ask? Well, I'll tell you. You make extra queens, that means when the drop with the Hellion and the Marines comes in, the key to defending that elevator-style tactic is to kill the dropship. It eliminates vision, and it also stops that drop micro that's very annoying. Also, if it's some sort of crazy cloak Banshee build or anything with Banshees, you have those extra queens out to defend. And of course, you're going to need some sort of protection if it's cloak, but the queens themselves can transfuse, keep structures alive for longer. And if it's just fast reactor Hellions, which it is in this case going to be, maybe some other type of variation. There's no second gas just yet, so it's looking like it is just going to be fast reactor Hellions. If that's the case, having the extra queens out is quite nice as well. But he's not going to be able to have them out that fast because that's a pretty quick reactor Hellion coming out from Hope Torture. Now he's going to actually send a Marine here to put some pressure on his opponent. I like this choice. More and more Terrans starting to do this. You can always just go home. There's nothing to lose with this pressure. Maybe your Marine will be damaged slightly, but that is going to be the most you lose. And there's the starport, so we are going to see a drop follow-up to this. Not going to be Cloak Banshees, not even going to be Banshees at all, but it looks of things. And he may get one drone here with the Marine. Oh, he absolutely will. But does lose the Marine itself. Could have actually gotten out of there. Not the best micro by Hope Torture. First two Hellions are out. Now, is he going to rally them across the map, or will he just wait and try to use a drop with them? I'd like to see him rally them across. He's going to take the tower. That's exactly what he's doing. He's going to take this tower, going to shut down his opponent's vision of what he's doing. And, oops, kind of missed that Zergling, so didn't quite shut down vision in the center of the map, but could have. A spine goes down immediately. No additional queens being made for DongRaeGu just yet. First two Hellions are here very quickly. He's going to try to catch reinforcements that come out of those larvae. Could even target down the larva if he wants to, but more than likely just going to annoy these queens and wait for more Hellions to rally. And he's actually stopped Hellion production temporarily. Back at his main base. He's just gone up to 4 Hellions, and he does start a Banshee, interestingly enough. Just one gas getting the Banshee out. Very interesting by Hope Torture. He's damaging these queens, which means the Banshees are going to be much more effective. Plus, he's kind of tricking his opponent here. His opponent's not going to be wanting to make score crawlers at this point. So this is a kind of a metagamey tricky move, but look at this. The Overlord sees the Banshee, and oh no. He even canceled that Banshee for a second. Why did he do that? That is a mystery to me. He canceled the Banshee and started it over again. Command Center goes down for Hope Torture now. And that is also shown to the Overlord. Nice Zergling hit there. Is he going to commit to staying in? Nope. Gets out before the Spine reroutes. Zergling's speed, of course, is done. More Hellions being rallied out. I'm still baffled as to why Hope Torture canceled that Banshee temporarily. There was nothing... He didn't need any gas. He was not mineral starved at that moment, so that's just actually really weird. Clearly you can see a little bit of shakiness in Hope Torture's play right now. Not playing the best games that you've ever seen from him. Either way, Banshee is now coming across the map. Drone's being taken out by these Hellions, and the Hellions actually going to escape behind these minerals and clean up a lot of these Zerglings. But look at that, the extra queens have been made now. Making quite a bit of difference here in this defense. And the final Hellions will fall. And guess what this Banshee's going to do? Not a whole lot with that many queens out. Does not have Cloak. Not going to be able to do much. Might be able to damage a Spine Crawler slightly before the queens get there. But that is going to be about it. Hope Torture. Whoa! 3 Banshees rallied into the starport. I'm like, I don't know, guys. Am I watching Gold League or am I watching Hope Torture? Get it together, man. I don't know what his plan is here, but I think making 3 additional Banshees when you see that many queens is not the right choice. Okay, maybe 2, maybe use them to control the watchtowers, maybe force a cancel on the hatchery, force the queens to come out there if necessary. But making 3 Banshees and having additional ones rallied up, though, that is crazy. That's crazy talk. If someone told me that, I would actually tell them they need to see a therapist. Second Banshee now out in the open here. He's going to try to do some harassment, but look at this queen. Look at that. He's actually just going to fly these over the queens. Really? Hope Torture? Come on. I don't know what I'm watching, guys. Overseer already ready. He's even got another queen here. And you know what those Banshees did? They did almost nothing. They did less than nothing. They didn't even damage a queen or anything. They didn't engage a queen and hurt her feelings. Those Banshees didn't even talk about how ugly those queens were. Banshee just lost all her friends and almost died, had a traumatic experience. She's like, I don't know, this is what Hope Torture told me to do, so I've got to do it, but I really just don't want to. It's craziness. Now, DongRaeGu going for 2 base Spire at this point. Pretty good choice when your opponent commits this heavily to Banshees and continues to make them after the disaster. He's finally stopped making them. He has gotten Blue Flame. It's been researching for quite a while. His armory is finishing up. He's going into mech play from this, which is a good transition point. And having these Banshees patrol around the map can kind of slow things down like this, make trap Zerglings, can hold the watchtower oftentimes, clean up the Zerglings from the watchtower. You can hit that 3rd base, which we do see is going up at the 9 o'clock position. He's actually going to harass that a little bit with the Banshee. You can do things like that with the Banshees, but you only need 2 Banshees to do that. If you have 3, it's nice, but you don't have 3 when you fly Banshees over queens. Being a little bit critical of Hope Torture's play, but I have to admit, I would tell him to see a therapist. Now, Hatchery is taking a lot of hits here. The second Banshee does arrive. The queens trying to creep their way over there, actually hanging out at the top of the ramp, not even coming over here. He's just going to cancel it. I like that choice with the Hellions there. He might lose all of his queens. They would have an anti-air problem until those mutas come out. Canceling the hatchery, an okay choice in this situation. Sees triple factories, also sees the starport still in action. Of course, it's going to be out of action until Broodlords come out. He's not going to have any reason to make a medevac, nor will he really make Vikings. He may make one to clean up Overlords, but he's already got Banshees to kind of control the air, control the watchtower, which he's finally starting to do, keeping those units in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, the Overseer coming in here for a second scout. He wants to know, are you making Thors right now, or are you making tanks? That's what he really wants to know. He does see 1 Thor has been made. He wants to see if more are coming out. Of course, he needs to know, do I really want to commit to my Mulus production right now, or do I want to switch into Roach? He sees the Thor and immediately starts a Roach war, and he's got to add some Roaches in here to slow down Thor pushes. And of course, right now, when he doesn't have enough production to make a ton of mutas, you have to have 3 bases at least to have the Mulus count necessary to Magic Box Thors, and he just does not have that yet. So he's going to cut down on the Mulus production a little bit, go into some Roaches. Turret's already up for Rainbow. He's actually done a pretty good job. You know, he totally botched his Banshee play and his opening last game, but, you know, he's transitioning pretty solidly here. Got the factories up. He's up to 4 factories. His production is good. He's not really missing a beat with his macro. He's got a 3rd command center on the way now. He's got turrets up already, prepared for those mutas. But obviously, DongRaeGu is in a pretty good position. I wouldn't say that he's ahead, though, since his hatchery is so late and he doesn't have the ideal composition to deal with what Hope Torture is making here. It's hard to say who's really ahead right now. +2 is already on the way, by the way, for Hope Torture as well. +2 is on the way for those roaches, though. Pretty quick +1 before the roaches were even out by DongRaeGu. I like that choice. He's continuing to scout with his Overseer. He wants to know the tank count versus the Thor count. He's continuing to verify that the Thor count is much higher. Now, why is that important? He wants to know if I want to make roaches or not. If he's going to make siege tanks instead, if he's somehow scouted that his opponent is making roaches instead, he's going to switch to siege tanks, so he wants to know that. These Hellions do have blue flame, but they are cornered and taken out very quickly. With that +1, they clean up Zerglings so fast, but not if they die before they can really engage. The Thor count's starting to get pretty high. A 6th factory, I believe. No. Yeah, no, 5th factory. Sorry, guys. It's a 5th factory. He'll get the 6th one later. This isn't StarCraft 1. Can't afford that many factories on 2 base. Look at that creep spread. Oh my god. That's actually disgusting. The Thors are now out in the open. DongRaeGu looks like he wants to push. I'm not quite sure if he has enough roaches yet. There are a few siege tanks in this mix. He's got SCVs to repair as well if he wants to. Hellions finishing the Zergling count before this battle commences. There are some Banshees in here as well. Keep that in mind. The Mutas will take them out very quickly, but they're still going to do some extra DPS. They're going to take some of that Muta DPS. Muta's taking some hits from these Thors. He does force the turret to be cancelled. He actually destroys it there. This is a shaky position for DongRaeGu. He's really ahead in supply, but doesn't really want to trade with this army. I don't think this is the right time. I'd like to see him, yeah, just go into the main with the Mutas, harass a little bit with them. Not overcommit to this attack. Overlord drops Baneling speed and Overlord speed on the way as +2 finishes for those roaches. SCV is coming out to try to repair this. He's going to start losing tech labs in the main base now. The Thors are going to have to come back. And when that happens, the roaches may decide to run in. I like this choice. He's going to be attacked from 2 sides here. The roaches going for the siege tank. It's not the best choice. The units did not come back to the main to deal with the Mutas, so not the best trade here for DongRaeGu. The supply actually evening up pretty quick. That one Thor getting a little bit ahead of himself. Remember, he's got +2 for these Thors, +1 plating on the way. More roaches rallying out for DongRaeGu. He's even got that macro hatchery. He's got a ton of larvae stacked up for this, and he's constantly remaxing with these roaches, and the hive is on the way. He's got the Spire already, so it's going to take just a snap of his fingers before he gets that Greater Spire as soon as that lair finishes, or hive, excuse me. We may see him get Adrenal Glands for the Zerglings pretty soon as well. I'd like to see him get the Greater Spire first. Over at the 9 o'clock position, we do see DongRaeGu taking another base. A relatively exposed base, but against mech play, that's actually fine. It's going to take forever for that mech army to attack over there and take that out. 3 Thors, 1 tank being produced at a time as the Hellions continue to rally out. Right now, things looking out of control with the mech production of Hope Torture. But he's only on 3 bases. He's pretty much mined out in his main. And this production is not going to last forever. He's not long-term like DongRaeGu is. DongRaeGu looks like he wants to drop in the main base with only roaches here. The drop may be spotted, not quite. He's not reacting in time. Now he's figured it out. His tanks are unsieging. Here comes the huge roach drop. He's even got a force up at the top to run into the 3rd base during this if he wants to. Thors that are rallying out, being killed. Banshee's doing a lot of extra DPS here. Maybe time for the roaches to get out, though, as they're not really participating in a fight now. They're actually just being taken out one by one. He has not actually sent his 2nd group to attack the 3rd base either, so this attack not as successful as it could have been for DongRaeGu. Going to go for some depots here, and may target down a few of these Thors. Going to get 1 Thor there. Targeting down the 2nd one. Muta's coming in here to help deal with these Banshees, but a huge mistake, I feel, by DongRaeGu. Look at the supply plummet for DongRaeGu and go into the favor of Hope Torture for just a moment. With the production, though, that DongRaeGu has, he's getting the Greater Spire now, continue to rally out roaches, remaxing very quickly. But, again, Hope Torture is stuck on 3 bases. DongRaeGu's got that hive tech, he's got the Greater Spire coming in here, and when that Greater Spire finishes, if he can get Broodlords, he's going to be able to control the center and slowly push into Hope Torture. Hope Torture's trying to take the middle of the map right now, but it's not going to be easy. A small roach drop is going to go off here, shut down some of this turret production, perhaps even kill some tech labs. It would be great if he could kill some of those tech labs, or even a tank or 2 that pop out. He's going to go for SCVs by the looks of things, and supply depots, though, a weird choice. And the creep just barely blocks the command center. Very unfortunate for Hope Torture. It looks like this Thor's going to be targeted down by Mutas and Roaches. Not the most cost-efficient trade. And again, Hope Torture slowly pulling ahead in supply. He's about to be maxed with a very scary, heavily upgraded army. and that's a scary thing for DongRaeGu right now. He's got a lot of banelings in this mix, which are not going to be ideal, especially with the siege tank count getting as high as it is. Whoa! Whoa, hold on a second. I'm like, maybe DongRaeGu needs therapy, I don't know. He's suiciding his banelings. He doesn't need to suicide his banelings, he needs to think about things. It's not the end of the world that he lost a lot of those mutas, okay? He doesn't need to suicide banelings, alright? He could think about it for a while. He could actually decide to do drop play like this, get his forces together, you know, get his head together. This drop is going to be about 8 roaches for a siege tank. That's not very cost effective, but it does slow his opponent down a little bit, and he's got better production, better economy. It's okay. He does actually manage to save 4 of those roaches. It's going to be a while before that command center is landing, that's for certain. Corruptors are on the way, there's a few of them out already. They're going to actually push this command center back before they become Broodlords. And of course, the Viking switch has already started to take place. He's got +1 ship weapons on the way for those Vikings. He doesn't have any in production right now, though. Remember, he's got 2 Thors in production. He's got a decent amount of Thors out right now. I like this fake drop tactic. It's going to draw the Vikings away from the Corruptors and very soon to be Broodlords. Uh-oh, the Banelings get way too far ahead of themselves. The Vikings have been spotted, though. The Corruptor's going to fight over turrets. A pretty good engagement overall, though, for DongRaeGu, considering that he was able to keep the Viking count low. There's so many Thors out. It's going to be difficult to deal with those. The Broodlords are going to be dealt with by the Thors if he micros correctly, if he can get the Thors to close the distance. 6 Broodlords on the way, +3 missile weapons. 4 of those roaches on the way now as well. No Carapace upgrades as far as I know for these units, though, on the ground. So that means the +2 for the Thors and the Hellions and even siege tanks are going to tear through those units. Look at the working count, a little bit higher for our Zerg players, 73 to 58. That is a scary Terran army. Hellions leading the charge, doing a lot of damage. And the hesitation here by DongRaeGu allows the siege tanks to siege up, and the Hellions getting a lot of extra hits. The Broodlords being hit by these Vikings. This command center may go down. No, it looks like it's going to stay alive. The Corruptors do take out the Vikings, but the Thors remain alive with no real buffer. And the trade definitely better here for Hope Torture, but his Thor is not really able to get out and engage. Siege tanks approaching the army now, forcing the Broodlords to turn around and deal with them, which allows the Thors to close the distance. These Broodlords taking a lot of damage now. Scans go off. Creep Tumors being taken out as our Zerg player is on the retreat. Look at this, though. The entire map, except for one location, has been taken by DongRaeGu. DongRaeGu's got a ridiculous amount of production. He's got a great worker count, but the army is still moving across the map. It's pretty scary. 4 more Thors being added into the mix, as well as Vikings. Hope Torture with a very strong composition, one that's designed especially to kill his opponent. I would definitely argue that the better composition goes to Hope Torture right now, but the production is not there. He does not have a 4th base secured yet. He lost his command center. He hasn't even been able to re-clear that creep just yet to take the center of the map. And his economy is suffering from it. Taking out more tumors here to make sure he can eventually get that command center. SCV is coming to help repair this push. Look at this, though. Transfusers going off on these Broodlords. The roach count is healthy. Look at the bases getting low. The main base is mined out. The natural almost mined out. Things look pretty grim for Hope Torture's economy, but he still has this strong army. If he can just beat the army of DongRaeGu convincingly one time and continue the push, cut off the production, he may be able to do a lot. I like the sending 4 siege tanks over here. It's going to draw some of the army away. Tanks sieging up in the middle here. The high ground advantage does go to Hope Torture. Transfusers go off on the Corruptors so that the Vikings will not do a ton of work to the Broodlords, but the Vikings actually ignoring the Corruptors, going for the Broodlords. The Thor's doing a lot of damage to the Broods as well, but the Roaches closing in here, and it looks like he is going to clean up these Thors just barely. And if he cleans up these Thors, that means he's going to take control of the center, and Hope Torture is going to be out of luck for another base. These final Thors will clean up the rest of the army. Going to take out these final Broodlords. But I got to say, the supply looking way out of proportion, 170 to 107. DongRaeGu moving out with a ton of roaches to finish this off. These units are all very low on hit points. Well, I say all, but the case is actually just one. Some of those Thors have been repaired. Tanks are in position here. Is DongRaeGu going to commit? Looks like he will. These roaches do have +3 attack. No Carapace upgrades, though. Going for the tanks first here. Look at that +3 tear through those siege tanks. The Thors, though, are going to remain alive. Taking out those roaches. The supply a little bit less of a deficit now, 145 to 81. DongRaeGu has got a lot of bases around the map, but he's not got the best saturation at them. He's got so many drones, he doesn't know what to do with them. He's going to have to start transferring drones over from his main and his natural pretty soon to those bases. Siege tanks being targeted down now by DongRaeGu. Again, just trading armies, doing what he can to keep that siege tank count low, so if his roach count ever gets very high, the siege tanks won't be there to buffer. Or if he switches into only siege tanks, he knows he's on low economy right now, he can't afford to make siege tanks and Thors, he can just switch into Mutalisks if need be. Look at his gas. He's got 2,300 gas banked up. He could actually do a huge Muta switch at any moment now, and if he keeps the tank count low and his opponent has to keep making tanks instead of Thors, there will be a time where the Thor count is low enough to where his Mutalisk switch just tears things apart. Look at that, 3 tanks in production now. Nice Hellion targeting here on these drones. Huge roach drop in the main base. Not sure if this is the best choice. He's going to take out some turrets. But he did lose quite a few drones at that base over on the left side of the map. He may go for these tech labs. I think that would be the best choice. He's going to shut down the production for quite some time of Hope Torture. One tech lab does fall. The second one on its way down. Does get the second one. He's got nowhere to go with these roaches. Going to take out a siege tank. Tries to get the second one. Does get it. And the last one will fall as well. So 2 tech labs and a few siege tanks. A really nice trade for just this small little roach drop. Even going to take out these Hellions as well. The production, like I said, so much better for DongRaeGu right now. He's got control of the center of the map. He needs to take out this base. It is a planetary now. +2 plating for those vehicles on the way now to help deal with the +3 of the roaches. Oh, these SCVs are going to go down so quick to this roach attack. He's going to have to pull them. He's going to have to lift immediately. SCVs falling left and right to these roaches, and less mining now for Hope Torture. Things falling apart for him very quickly. Look at the map. I mean, all the hatcheries have been taken. On a map like this against mech play, it's super easy to just take the map, abuse that immobility of your opponent's army, do drops, keep your opponent in his base, trade armies with them efficiently, keep taking out siege tanks, keep your opponent guessing as to what composition you're going to bring at him next, because if he switches into Muse or if he brings back out the Broodlords, you know, Hope Torture does not have enough economy to account for everything. Spines in here to deal with these Hellions. No run by going to ruin DongRaeGu's day. Scan goes off, he's like, oh, there really is no good way for me to get in here. Drones do have to be pulled temporarily here, but DongRaeGu's forces will arrive very soon to help clean this up. Just 3 heavily upgraded roaches is all it's going to take. You guys saw the worker count there was pretty bad for Hope Torture right now. +2 Carapace about to finish for ground units of DongRaeGu as well. It's going to put them both on 3-2. Actually, we'll put Hope Torture on 2-2, I believe. Look at this, the Broodlord attack killing so many SCVs already. He may even turn down this planetary. Each Broodlord hit does so much damage. Look at the minerals of Hope Torture at the top right. He's got less than 100. He's spending every last one of them to repair this base. SCVs, or rather drones, been taken out by those Hellions, but look at this. DongRaeGu's final attack, by the looks of things, is going to take out the last of the Vikings. The Broodlords charging forward. The SCVs can no longer really participate in this safely. Planetary adding a nice extra buffer here, but the roaches attack the third again, which is almost mined out, might I add. The planetary will fall. Hope Torture is at checkmate at this point. Nothing he can do to come back in this game. The entire map, as I've said several times, has been taken by DongRaeGu. Supply 200 to 76. Does clean up that last push over there on the right side, but DongRaeGu is not done. He's got a huge Corruptor Roach Broodlord army coming in here. The Roaches are going to add a ton of extra DPS to those Thors, while the Broodlings make it so the Thors can't really maneuver. And of course, the Corruptors will deal with the Vikings. Look at this, the Roaches coming in. The Thors stuck behind their concave. The Vikings fall. Corruption going down. GG. DongRaeGu 2-0's Hope Torture and is our second winner. We're going to take a quick break, guys. During this break, of course, make sure to go follow me on Twitter at ProxyWolf and follow GOMTV as well. Get on Twitter, talk about this, hashtag GSL, hashtag AOL. Go to teamliquid.net and, of course, post in the live report thread there. your thoughts of the game. Check out this Code S group. I will be right back.